Shop owners in Whitehorse are fed up with break-ins, property damage, and theft. Many are calling for changes to the criminal justice system, but experts say that won't get to the root of the problem. Meagan Deuling explains.
Broke it, and then, the glass was still intact up top, but in the hole, and the one guy came in and then ransacked the place.
The owner of Wines by Design says the people who broke her front door at the end of November and stole a cash box and some speakers are lucky she wasn't waiting for them with a baseball bat.
Honestly, I would not blame anybody for harming somebody if they broke into their business or their home, their home, because they're just protecting what's theirs.
Maxinook isn't alone in her frustration.
There's no consequences from the justice system. And I've been in discussions where people are pretty certain that it's probably no more than 8 or 10 people causing 80 to 90% of the problems. But there's nothing that's effectively being done to protect the business community.
Many businesses echoed this sentiment to CBC. A criminal lawyer in Vancouver says the justice system isn't the problem.
To the extent that you see upticks in property crime, it's usually almost always associated with upticks in addiction, poverty, and other issues that are far more socioeconomic in nature than just the question of criminal law.
Statistics show break-ins, theft, and property damage have decreased across Canada since the 1990s. That's not the case in Whitehorse, where these crimes have increased since the COVID-19 pandemic.
Social issues are definitely factors for some folks, and economic factors like unemployment, poverty. It's pretty complex. I don't think there's a global answer, but those types of things definitely come into play. In addition to, if somebody is involved with using drugs, it can be very expensive, unfortunately.
Sergeant McLeod says there might be a perception in Whitehorse that it's just a handful of people behind the rash of property crimes. She says while there are repeat offenders, that's not the case for every break-in. Tony Paisana, the criminal defense lawyer in Vancouver, says the right to bail is protected by the Charter. He says when someone's at the start of their criminal cycle, it takes a while for their criminal record to catch up to their activities. The executive director of the Yukon Anti-Poverty Coalition says for the problem to be properly addressed, members of the marginalized community need to be a part of the conversation. And she says those relationships take time to build. She says people need to check their assumptions and dig into stigma. She says real data is needed.
Is it repeat offenders? What are people stealing? Instead of this anecdotal, oh, I've had this experience and I've had this experience and let's put it up on Facebook for Whitehorse property crime, and we all become alarmed and look at each other with suspicion.
But things are as tenuous as ever right now.
For Donna Reimkin at the North End Gallery, time may be running out. For her, business has been a struggle since the pandemic, and the cost of the repeat break-ins make matters worse. For her, it's becoming a matter of whether she can stay in business at all. Meagan Deuling, CBC News, Whitehorse.